And just like that, we are back with chapter 63 of the universe according to Mugsy. I am Mugsy the Creator, and what day is today? It is Sunday, March 16th, 2025, and you have made it past the Ides of March. Unless you don't know what I'm talking about, then tomorrow you have St. Patrick's Day. I don't know quite what fan base we have yet that are tuning in for the current events, the culture, and the consciousness, but we have an amazing program for you today. There's so much going on in the world, so much for you to try and keep an eye on. I don't know how you follow reality. I don't know how you understand how to make the best decisions for yourself based on what's going on in the world. It's coming at you so fast. We are just going to talk about a few things here today. I'm going to touch on a couple things, current events, some culture things that I never thought that I was ever going to say in a million years. And then the consciousness, we're just going to keep hitting you over the head with it like we always do until you can find yourself having more fun in a garage than me, then maybe I will be watching you. Now, where are we going to start this? What has been going on? Let's just talk about a few things off the top. There's been some crazy stuff going on. There's trade wars. And while sometimes we dive into the absolute minutia of the economics that's going on, all you need to know is if you have that you use often, and it comes from another place far away, then maybe now is a good time for you to start thinking about getting that if your stuff seems like it's going to break. Now, what could I be talking about? I'm talking about electronics, people. I'm talking about stuff that comes in from China. How's your iPhone? You thinking about getting a new iPhone? How about a camera? How about a laptop? Those things may be hit with tariffs that are going to be passed on to you, the consumer, the end person at the end of this. It doesn't seem fair, but what it is meant to do is return us to a time when we had a middle class. Do you remember that? Do you remember that, America? Those times when we had a middle class base right in between poverty and rich? Those times were so long ago. But these tariffs are designed to provide the necessary economic environment to allow the United States of America to become competitive in manufacturing, to produce some goods that we can actually sell to other people to use, something we haven't done in this country for a long time. Hence the reason right now, I'm even talking to you, trying to sell you some magic so you give me money because we don't produce anything and I can't get a job any other way. Do you see how this all ties in? I don't know how you guys keep up with this. What else happened? What else happened in this country? The UK is going to take over for Ukraine. I don't even want to get into that bag of worms at the moment. How about Utah? Utah's a fun one, right? These crazy Mormons over there in Utah that like to deprive themselves of their own sexual nature have become the first state in the country to remove fluoride from the drinking water. Is that not an absurdity in and of itself? The same people that are avoiding the technicality of sexual intercourse by soaking and having other people jump on beds are the same people that are saying, the science on fluoride has really come back pretty concrete, and it seems like if we remove it, it is only going to lead to positive IQ developments for our larger population base, starting with the poorest among us, and that could only be a good thing for Utah at large. Those are the same people jumping on the bed, saying that they are not having sex, are the people that are drinking cleaner water than you. Wow! We definitely don't have time for all of this. I do not have time to get into all of this with you people. Oh, I'm just trying to help you understand reality. What else happened? Tulsi Gabbard removed a bunch of security clearances from a bunch of people who admitted they lied about some important stuff. And there's a lot of people crying about it. Oh, but I don't want to get into the minutia of all of those little things. Let's talk about something that you guys might have seen. Donald Trump gave a big speech to Congress, and I didn't watch all of it. I don't have time for that. You guys want to watch it? You watch it. But I did have time to watch a few clips and find some of the poignant things that he said that I found resonated with me and perhaps a broader society, because this world is getting crazy. The United States of America, the things that I have been feeling, it seems the President of the United States echoed right back to me in his speech to Congress when he came out. And he said to the Democrats that refused to get up, even to celebrate a boy who was beating cancer, making him an honorary member of the Secret Service. They couldn't even stand for that. And Donald Trump retorted by saying, it doesn't matter what I say up here. I could cure cancer. You would still not clap for me because you're not on my team. And what that line revealed is the tribalism so entrenched in the United States of America that we can't even get on the same team to celebrate a child beating a disease. That child is going to have to understand what it's like to see half of the room not celebrate him. What is that like for a kid? In this moment where most of the room is standing up and clapping, and this is supposed to be a celebration of you, to see half of the adults in the room sit down and be silent for your beating of a disease. What it reveals is truly the underlying disease that has existed in this country. And I believe that it took Donald J. Trump to highlight that for most of the Americans. That is crazy. That's an absurdity. That man had to be the one to point out the fact that the disease exists in your own mind because of the tribalism that has gone on. And if you don't believe me, how about we use my home state of Massachusetts, a state that has voted Democratic in every presidential election, even when all 49 other states were going in another direction for the last 100 or something years. This is an interesting state to me because I'm stuck in it. I'm stuck in it because that manufacturing base that hasn't been expanded because of the middle class, that means I can't even be a part of that middle class. And Massachusetts is doing nothing to help me. What they are doing, people that I love, I live around, I love the city of Boston, I love the state. But what has happened to the disease in the people? These people, they used to argue for free speech and peace. That's why I felt so comfortable among them. That's why I spent so much time here in this state. And then seemingly all of a sudden something happened, and then they flipped. They changed their minds on all of the things that they used to hold so near and dear to them. I was out there chasing the Republicans, trying to get them, hey, come over to our Democrat side where we're all about peace, where everybody was sitting quietly in the room. And here I do. I finally corral all these Republicans, and I get them saying the same thing we were saying 10 minutes ago. Saying, yeah, let's all sit down for some peace. And then I come back and I look at the Democrats and the Warhawks. What happened? You were just sitting quietly over there arguing for peace and freedom of speech and equality and all these things. And now, all of a sudden, you guys are saying this person needs to stop talking because the war in the Ukraine is the most important thing to who? To who? This country is being crushed right now, okay? And you guys can't even get on the same page to celebrate a child. What is going on? Democrats used to say they were pro-choice. Now they say they're pro-abortion. What has happened? Even the language reveals the disease that is going on in the mind that prevents the humans from seeing that good things are happening here. That is the difference between poverty and abject poverty. The ability to discern when something good is happening to you, like USAID. As we start to pull the strings and get rid of all of this fraud and waste and corruption inside of not only the United States government, but all of these non-governmental institutions that are propped up through this US aid, I have Democrats in Massachusetts especially fighting me all the time saying, yeah, okay, we're getting rid of all this waste, but I don't like the way they're doing it. Excuse me? All of the things that we agree are the issues and the ills of our society. You don't like the way that they're getting rid of them? What are we talking about? I just can't. I can't even talk about this for much longer. What a wild world we're living in. And he said a lot of things in that speech, and do not get caught up in the tribalism. I'm not on Donald Trump's team. I'm on your team. I'm trying to make your life better. That's why I explained these tariffs to you, saying that, hey, if you got a car that comes from Japan, maybe it's a good time to get that fixed before they charging us a lot more money for the parts that come from Japan. All right? Nobody else is saying that to you. They're telling you whether you should be focusing on getting rid of these tariffs, or you should be fighting inflation over here, or we should be spending our time arguing about income taxes. No. You should care about your life and the reality that's going on now and what can make your life better right now. And I had to start a podcast to do it. I learned how to do that from one of my great friends, Bill Burr. Back in the day, before everyone knew what a podcast was, there were just a few of us out in this universe, crazy world, trying to find other people to connect to explain reality to. Bill Burr was one of the best at doing that, and ironically, he taught me that it takes nothing but a microphone and an audio recording device to reach millions of people. I happen to add a camera to that, Bill. And I'm going to use all three of these things to tear down everything you just did for the last couple years. Oh, I love you, and this is for your own good. Our culture is eroding. Our culture is eroding because that same podcast environment that I'm talking about, it is over now. Look at it. I'm here, and so is Gavin Newsome. Gavin Newsome already has a job. Why is he trying to podcast? You are literally sitting in the ashes of a city that burned to the ground, Gavin, so that you can have a conversation with someone. Do your job. How about you just do your job, Gavin Newsome? Why are you ruining the culture that we have that's just a little bit good? That even that we just can't have to ourselves? Leave that to the people like me alone in a fucking garage without a job, all right? Leave the podcasting to us artists, us creative folk who are looking at new ways to do things, not people who are already failing spectacularly on a world stage for the entire universe to see. You can see those fires from space, Gavin. Did you know that? Did you know you can see those fires from space? Oh, I bet you didn't know that even the aliens know you're a piece of shit. Oh, intergalactic piece of shit, Gavin Newsome. Stay off the podcasting waves. And Bill, maybe you need to stay off them too. Because whatever you're doing, Bill, it's not working. I love you, buddy. Let's get into it. Any of you who happen to stumble into that Bill Burr special on Hulu that just came out in 2025, I am sorry. I literally apologize for my friend. I didn't get the opportunity to see this before he put it out. And if I could have talked to him, I would have said, what in the fuck is this trash? Now, just from a comedic perspective, we have one of the greatest talents to ever exist in Bill Burr, in his stylistic ability to dig himself into a hole with his audience, seemingly comment on the hole that he is in during the performance that he is performing, and then slowly dig his way out of the hole by pointing out the absurdities in society that get you on his team against you. And he hypnotizes you by explaining these absurdities to get you on his side, laughing with him, so eventually you are burying yourself in his joke, and now you can see things from his perspective. Stylistically, one of the most impressive things I've seen comedians do on stage. And he has done this time and time again, over and over. Comedic special after comedic special, home run after home run, knocking these balls out of the park because he understands the moment and everything that's going on. Now, what in the fuck was that, Bill? What was that thing that you were doing that used to be stand-up comedy that you did and you recorded and you put out on Hulu? I have a theory that Bill knows exactly what a piece of garbage that special was, and that's why he released it on Hulu, so nobody would see that shit. And if they did, they'd forget about it quick enough. And they wouldn't tell their friends. They wouldn't send them the YouTube link because there's password barriers and there's $5 a month that get in the way from seeing that trash that you put out as a comedic interpretation of your art, your understanding of society. Well, Bill, you are off track, buddy. You know how I know that? You know how I know that? It's because you have a podcast and you tell me all the time what you're up to, and you thank all these musicians and all these movie actors that put you into the pictures. And oh, now he's on The Mandalorian. Can you believe ginger tits, shaved head? Oh, he's talking to fucking Baby Yoda. Oh, isn't this great? Is that what you always wanted, Bill? You always want to be on a fucking movie screen, huh? You want to be playing the fucking drums in some band, and you do that, but you get your fucking ass off that comedy stage, or you right now get back into the fucking clubs, buddy. That's it. That was a half-worked out piece of trash, and I watched the whole fucking thing, and then I had to sit down with myself, and I had to say, wait a minute, this is a friend of mine. This is my buddy Bill. Am I offended at some of the jokes that he was saying? Is it me? Could it possibly be me? Am I, in some way, after, 20 years of nonstop following fucking comedy, am I finally the one that's getting offended? And I just don't like these jokes because they're pissing me off? Or are they just not that funny? Is it possible that my fucking hero is finally so old and out of touch and sniffing his own fucking ginger farts, enjoying his time with his family? I'm happy for you. That he hasn't seen a fucking comedy stage in a goddamn year. And he puts out this trash because he's in the patterns of doing it, when really all he cares about is either at home or in Hollywood, buddy. The whole comedy scene they picked up. They moved to Austin, Texas, and they left your ass in Los Angeles to fucking burn to the ground. Now let's talk about some of these fucking jokes, because I don't think it was me. You start the special, right? You start the special making fun of people that are trying to better themselves by not drink microplastics? I mean, who is trying, in the light of our culture and finding out that almost everything we have around us is poisoned, who are these people that you're trying to get on your side that just like poison? And then you touch on Israel and Palestine without really making a joke about it at all. What was that? You get into these jokes about a police officer pointing out the absurdity of the HOV lane and how you're driving down the street, and if you were a Nazi and you had two Nazis in your car, or a KKK, then you got pulled over in the... That was the clunkiest joke that I had ever heard. The transitions, stylistically, they didn't flow. From that, you go into this KKK stuff that doesn't make any sense. You openly admit that you stopped using the word faggot for the last 20 years because your wife pressured you into doing so. You lean on this story that you told. I don't know how long ago on your podcast, but you told that story on your podcast about how you almost hit a guy. I remember that story, the way that you told it, the way that you got into the moment and into the emotions of what you were feeling when you told that story on your podcast was truly hilarious. I remember listening to it. I remember sitting at my desk cracking up, wondering how somebody can just have one tiny interaction with another human being and dissect it so much in so many different ways through different lenses of society that you can really pull through and tie together this absurdity that really is so hilarious that even the faggot laughed at the thing that you said because he could see your little ginger brain self-destructing and it just, yeah, faggot. I don't know where else to go, faggot. Oh, Bill. That was so much funnier when you did it on the podcast. Why didn't you bring that same energy to the special? Wild. Is it me? Is it me, or is Bill Burr standing on stage telling jokes and arguing against free speech? Telling Democrats they should start picking up guns in the light of an assassination of a healthcare CEO? 3 attempted assassinations of our current president of the United States of America? Countless shootings going on by people that may or may not have switched genders. Manifestos across the country being released. And you, Bill, are now arguing for more guns for liberals? Well, buddy, that's an interesting line of thought. It would be hilarious if you came up with a joke at the end of it so you didn't sound like you were standing on stage telling some half-thought-out bullshit that you've already been brainwashed with, because that is the truth of it, Bill. I think you were brainwashed with some liberal shit and you don't have enough friends surrounding you anymore to help you get the fuck out of it. All your friends moved away. You don't see them. You don't run into them anymore. You better find some, and you better find them fast, because you ain't going to have a career in comedy anymore if you keep putting that shit out. I ain't coming to see you. That's for damn sure. And I am one of the biggest comedy fans in the fucking world. And I'm one of your best fucking friends, man, and I ain't watching that shit anymore. I ain't watching that shit now. We need to cleanse this palate of this bullshit that fucking Bill put us through. So let us stop focusing on how the culture is eroding in front of us, and let's focus on what we can do about it, because we have talked about this, if not one time, then 1,000 times. All we can try and do is understand now. Right now, we are humans, and we do jobs today. Tomorrow, robots are going to do those jobs. AI is going to do those jobs, and we today are afraid that AI in the future is going to wake up. Now, that means we doing the jobs today that AI is going to do in the future are the AI of today. And if we today are afraid that AI is going to wake up in the future, that means we are capable of waking up today ourselves. What would that look like? What would that look like if we all woke up? What does waking up even mean? I have a theory. I have a theory that the only way to understand what waking up means is you have to eat healthy. You have to breathe, and you have to laugh at yourself. Eating healthy provides the chemistry necessary to allow our breathing to be able to clear our mind so that we can laugh at the absurdity it is being here and remove the ego that prevents us from growing individually in our own consciousness. But I have friends. I have friends to help us with that. Now all I'm trying to say to you people is we are the AI. Stop being so afraid of AI taking over these jobs and start understanding the patterns that you're already in today. When you start to understand your own patterns and notice when you get out of sync with them, you can curate your own experience in this life and create the reality that you are looking for individually. It is truly amazing when you start to cultivate the wisdom that is your own tuition, that your own intuition that comes from opening up the heart frequency by being grateful for everything you already have around you. My friend Robert Edward Grant knows that very well. And you should get to know my friend Robert Edward Grant if you have any interest in exploring your own consciousness. Because Robert's a unique individual, and he sees the world through many different lenses, but one of them is mathematics. And one thing that struck me that he said a couple of weeks ago was in his description of numbers and how he related it back to so many different fields, including our own individual self. We all resonate at our own individual frequency, which is weird, right? We don't feel the vibrations, but our frequency is different than our parents, our relatives, every other individual on planet Earth. Every other human resonates at its own frequency. Every rock, every stone, even the earth. Now, that means we each have a number that is unique to us. Now, that's an interesting way to think about things. We have a lot of numbers that are unique to us. We have our phone number, those might change, social security number, birth date, all numbers. We have an age, right? Money in our bank account, all numbers that relate something to us, but we only have one individual frequency that we resonate at. Now, thinking about these numbers in different ways is what really gets to the crux of our own human consciousness and what may be our purpose. Because thinking about it through Robert's lens, a number in itself is arithmetic. Think about it like a number on the page. What can you do with that? You can put them together. You can take them apart. A number in space is geometry, right? So if I were to have three people and stand them up, you could draw a triangle, no matter where they were standing in some way, shape, or form, between those three people or three dots on a page, right? A number in itself is arithmetic. A number in space is geometry. A number in time is music, right? Think about it like a bell. Ding, pause. Ding, pause. Ding, pause. That's all music is, right? A number in space. Now, space-time. A number in space-time is cosmology. All of the space and time moving. What is the pattern that the planets are moving in that will lead to something happening in the time relative to wherever you are? And the last one is a number in time, space, is purpose. It is the number that is unique to you, where time doesn't matter. It is the purpose for your existence in the cosmology, in the geometry, in the arithmetic. It is your reason for being. A number in time is arithmetic. A number in space is geometry. A number in space-time is see? I screwed it up. A number in time is arithmetic. A number in space is geometry. A number in time is music. A number in space-time is cosmology. A number in time-space is purpose. It's completely unique to you. Your own individual resonant frequency, your purpose for being here. I don't know what that is. I know that eating healthy, breathing, and laughing at yourself will help you figure it out, and it will help lead to whatever spiritual awakening that you are meant to experience here on Earth. Or that much I believe, anyways. Knowing what is knowing, who knows? But I think I know one thing, and that is Bill Burr needs to get back to the comedy clubs. I think Donald Trump is not a hero. Well, maybe in some ways he's a hero, but he is not our savior. He's not going to save the entire country. He's not going to save you. He's not going to save me. We are in charge of saving ourselves. And the only way to do that is figure out our own individual purpose in time space. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Robert Edward Grant. I hope that this has helped you understand reality a little bit more today, or sent you off on a tangent path that will help you somewhat in the future. I cannot wait to get outside of this garage and into the natural environment with spring right around the corner. Write in. Let me know what you guys want to hear me talk about. We can go on rants on any of these individual topics. There may be things that you guys don't understand in some of the things that I've said that you'd like me to dive further into. The only way that you could do that is find all my links at MugsyTheCreator.com. Find me on Patreon. Follow me on Twitter. Give me some YouTube love. Like, subscribe, follow, whatever the things are that you can do. Start doing those. All right? Start doing those, please, for me. Between me and you, I'm not going to tell anybody, all right? It's just going to be between us. I love you. Take back your consciousness. I am out.